Physical assault is the most common in abusive relationships, but can also happen outside the home or workplace. There may even be threats of it being carried out if a demand is denied. If the abuser does choose to follow through with violence, there's usually an element of surprise involved and/or a delay in responding. Violence will usually be preceded with insults or a combination of yelling and name-calling. Abusers don't take it easy on you, but don't count on being safe when you try and fight back. Forcing you into unwanted sex. It might involve forcing you against all odds into the presence of the opposite sex, whether it be at work or school gatherings with the expectations that you have to engage in sex, which is never welcomed, tolerated, expected, or reciprocated. Sometimes you might physically be forced into sexual activity that's entirely non-consensual. It might even happen at the drop of an item or an event, such as a game of musical chairs, without you ever knowing who started it or even being invited in. The abuser is controlling what happens to you sexually and how long it takes to occur, often with the intent of manipulating you. It's Wednesday! This might even go so far as to force sex upon another member of your household, whether that's a roommate, partner, who might even become your spouse or boyfriend, or someone else who lives under the same roof. Sometimes, even when sex is forced on you against your will, there might not be no direct sexual interaction whatsoever, just oral or manual manipulation of the body, which makes this type even more terrifying. This is the least known kind of rape. Digital rape. Rapitalia. Abuse of pets and livestock. Abused women have reported their abusers using animals as a means of control. This includes both pets like dogs, cats, birds, as well as animals for food, milk, and eggs, such as goats, cows, pigs, horses, and sheep, to the detriment of many other farm families, not only to those of abused women, in countries around the globe and on our nation's land and wild preserves. Institutional. Child neglect. You got milk. This is a form of physical. The children suffer from hunger and exposure to elements like cold, weather, disease. Some cases have been seen in which there are so few possessions the household looks lived in, yet the home is uninhabitable. The lack of furniture may indicate abandonment. In some cases, the use itself could be so extensive and debilitating to a family. The furniture has to remain packed away in boxes or piled up at one end. Huh. Violent death. When violence escalates beyond mere psychological control or emotional and financial bullying, the victim is subject to violence ranging in severity that can be deadly. In these instances, it's almost always because a perpetrator lost control and the victim did something that got them killed. Provide explicit and particular examples from history. Please do your best to avoid plagiarism. Also, I would prefer a story with at most one protagonist. The plot will focus on the abuse that occurred to you, what makes the abuse different, and why does the abuse persist. It should not take too long to finish. A couple 100 pages is enough, although if it's better if you can write a shorter piece. The more information I get, the better. Please include any research that supports your argument. The Coen brothers present. Are famous for producing the most acclaimed dark comedy film ever, Blood Simple. And this was also the case for No Country for Old Men and True Grit. As such, they provided me, as part of my writing process for another novel, that hasn't sold, the opportunity to explore and experiment further with themes in fiction writing, namely, the use of ambiguity, the importance of effective dialogue. Let's get to it. Let's get to it! Exclamation point. And away we go. First off, a lot of my ideas were derived from an online forum discussion regarding abusive behavior toward others and myself. For example, some abusers seem to be able to control a woman through subtle body language. While the abusers were so obvious about it, the victim was often completely fooled into believing it is an abuse. Without further ado, I present to you the new title of the Coen brothers' Reasonable Accommodation. Syndrome. I am currently writing a piece of satire about the office environment that is filled entirely by the male employees that work there. In the workplace, they constantly complain about their wives and how horrible everything with them must be, even though we were all working on projects together and they do have a sense of camaraderie. Their stories about what happens behind closed doors between them and the women are quite entertaining and hilarious. It feels somewhat uncomfortable, but also very cathartic to watch them go on these ridiculous binges to get attention or make themselves superior. There was also a small benefit which helped motivate my own desire to write the short satirical work. Just give us... Can you just give us the text? You don't need to talk about the text. that you wrote. I'd like to ask for your thoughts and advice as your review. I had no idea if it'll actually sell, but it would help me improve my work if you had an opinion about the tiresome. Computer, reset the abuse simulator once again. Another scenario at the intersections of substance abuse disorder and the workplace, and bullying, and stigma, and jollibees. And work plastic jollibees. The candy that came on your desk today was your paycheck because you were a good girl. That's what I wanted to share about our new job. And how awesome we all look at our new office building. The week has been crazy exciting. We've moved over 400 new clients onto a platform. How it's built on the latest advances in machine learning. What does it do? This means less manual effort for all of us, which is a win-win situation, right? And that brings up another great point about a company. Every employee has the ability to move up and be part of an elite group with lots of resources, recognition, opportunities, and pay. It all begins here at Sticky Jelly HQ. If you're smart, dedicated, hungry to succeed, and we want you on the team, check us out at stickjelly.com. Stick jelly. It's jelly on a stick. It's a little harder. Corn jelly dog. Now let's take a closer look at each of the 4 offices. We all know that in a larger corporation like ours, there's different teams are spread out the country or world. But this game of life, let's imagine the 4 separate groups live in their own private bubble. So if someone in accounting decides to get sick, they don't infect anyone from the finance team, or vice versa. In order to achieve this isolationism, for now, each of the teams is placed across different geographical areas. Here's how they line up. Click to enlarge. So let's pretend your office building has been divided by floor and room, which will help me lay out some specific events that happened during this office simulation. On the first floor, there's Team 1 in Suite 401, and they need to go to Room 201 to check on the newest machines. Members. On Floor 2, you find Team 4 in Room 402B, who've received word of an urgent meeting at 10 a.m. Each of the team's rooms have a unique ID number that will be listed below, each one to keep it straight. You read the rest of the event list in a minute. So please wait patiently while I explain everything. Okay. Room 402, Team 4. The meeting starts in 5 minutes. Go ahead and head to the lobby area and meet at desk 1B. There are 2 ways out. Door 1B leads to the hall outside your team's office, or exit 3C through another door, then you'll turn on down corridor 7D until it opens to a sequence of elevators. And this is the fastest way. You might remember the names 1 and 4, but you can call them anything you like. In order to give them team some semblance of structure, the room they have been assigned has the name Meeting Room A 402, and there's only ever one entrance and exit. I foresee people dying. There are no private or shared bathrooms in the suite. Everyone has their privacy within the walls that enclose each suite. When the team arrives at their new workstation, Desk 1, you'll see a monitor, a desk surface, a computer keyboard and mouse, a wall-mounted telephone for voice or email communication, and other standard workplace tools, such as a paperclip, flies, and pen and pads. Your group's task this morning is a bit odd. It sounds to you like some idiot was sent by upper management to collect the data on your progress over these last few months to prepare for the quarterly audit next week. But since you didn't hear about this at the beginning of the month, when your boss was still at your old company and before your current job, your curiosity piqued a tad. And so here you are, in the hallway, waiting to be allowed into the office. You're not too keen to enter with those strangers inside. Who knows what they might say? But the manager said she'd be out shortly, leaving the three of you to wait. So now you're standing outside the elevator bank in a small lobby, just inside exit 2A, where your office is on floor 3. In this case, the elevator banks are all adjacent to one another and have individual names. The elevator will take you up to floor 2 to your left and back down to the basement floor. The doors on each elevator, like every other feature of your suite, has a letter designation, D for down or B for up. There is also an S and an F, although neither is relevant to this exercise today. If I were being a real bitch, I'd make them use all 4 letter options for their stupid, pointless naming convention. But let's try to maintain a positive outlook. At least most of the time, shall we? You might find a way to slip a note out of the building if your boss or anyone you don't trust is around. Remember that. There isn't an intercom box anywhere near the elevators, and the security guard at exit 3C, floor 6, wouldn't be able to hear you over the din from floor 5 below or above. So you're not worried about a noisy stranger hearing any of your conversations here, right? Wait, don't look around. The sound of footsteps on carpet is coming from your left and growing closer. Hang tight. Hang on tight. Hang on tight. Hang on tight. Hang on tight. On tight. Hanging on tight. On tight. So, just pretend like you're working. You need some space between you and the guy in the black pants approaching on his way back to the basement. It could only mean he came up to exit 2B, instead of going back down to floor 6 to pick you up. So maybe that will give us more breathing room. Now the elevator doors slide inside. The dude's already on it. Yep, he just went by looking for someone else. But now I can go up. Anal. Having anal. Let's hope the next person in line isn't one of my tormentors. Maybe they'll get stuck on the first stop because there's an extra tall man in front of them. Yeah, that should buy us a minute or two, depending on how crowded they get before they move along. You step inside the elevator with your back to the guy who came in first and press the down button on the side, not caring which number shows on display. Just drive, drive, drive! Drive! Question mark. You notice that little green arrow light blink? Yes, the light flashing now to indicate your upcoming car arrival. You wait patiently. You wait patiently. For a while until you notice that your phone screen was vibrating again. Your eyes dart across it. What's up? What did I forget? Oh shit, it's the security camera outside. Someone saw you enter this hallway with your cell out and decided it would make a good blackmail material. Shit. What? I see you're out of your sector. Your stomach flips. You look at the ground as if avoiding eye contact. Is there something on your pants? You rub it off. That should buy some time. There's no one behind me. But there's also no point in getting off this car at floor 1. It's better to wait until the doors shut and be able to hear them come. Can we get a map? There are people walking up or going down this hall, and it looks busy and lively. Not many empty offices or closed doors here at exit 1A. You stand by a corner to your left, waiting for them. You're trying not to breathe heavily. A group passes right beside you. They don't glance into your direction. Are you sure they didn't see me on the elevator with my cell phone out? What the fuck does it matter? Oh yeah, it's blackmailable. Maybe it's worth going over to tell them about this camera thing. The doors close again, and your heart is racing as the car departs. I've seen you standing by that corner. They'll catch me for sure. You start running. Seems crazy at first. You don't know how to sprint, or if you even can. Your legs just flail and wobble in place, like you're wearing roller skates. I should learn how to run first. Then they are on your shoulders again, and suddenly you're doing fine. Just a couple of short bursts to get up to floor 2, you think, but you don't even make it. You slip again and almost fall flat on your face. Except your cell phone goes spinning off. Shit, the camera, stupid. How could you be so stupid? There's no elevator at the end. They'll catch you. Don't go back. Don't. No, no, no. You turn around, and you don't have to run any further. They were right behind you the whole time, smiling smugly, pointing at you. Hey, you missed, buddy. Didn't even try to dodge. Nice and easy now. We don't want anyone thinking you're a sole loser, do we? Well, I'm gonna be sore eventually. It was the camera. Of course it would work only when it mattered and never in the good parts. That wasn't what they wanted to see. You just let yourself fall into this mess. It's always like this, isn't it? Everything is abuse. God is abuse. I don't understand what they mean. I'm tired and my eyes hurt. Why are you yelling? No caps. No caps. What is wrong with you? Get away from me. I can't look. Why did you have to be the hero today, huh? Why couldn't they see you on that elevator and call security? They don't see how scared you were, and it was like they enjoyed making you sweat more than anything, laughing all this horrible stuff about you behind your back. What did I do to you? Is it me, or you're not happy with? Did I mess up your plans? Am I that boring or dumb to you? Are you embarrassed by me? Are you afraid that someone will hear us? Maybe that you don't want everyone else to know what you have with us? Please, just let it end and take care of it, okay? It is hard to be alone. R. Elstein. The main protagonist, the one with all these terrible flaws, is surrounded by his loving friends who support him despite everything he says or does to ruin their relationships, and are also constantly being berated, mocked, belittled, and shamed by them. He has the perfect friends, yet still he's an abusive person because of the fact they do nothing about how he treats others. They allow themselves to stay with this character even after seeing his true nature in many ways. Even though his best and dearest friend is constantly there, trying her hardest for the protagonist, but to no avail, I have only one thing left to say. I believe in God. God will protect me. The game begins as a story about an orphan girl named Saffron. She lives in a small rural city and goes to school to get ready for the next grade, while also being tutored at home. She loves her mother very much. Her mother works in town, so they rarely meet. But when they're close enough, her mother will hug her tightly before going off to wherever she goes, and leaves the child with a stranger, who is her father's girlfriend. While on a trip, her parents were tragically killed by a car crash, leaving the young vulnerable girl on the side of the highway, where a kind but compassionate driver came along to rescue her and bring her home. I don't know about compassion. I don't think that first billable should be there. She never knows what would have happened had it not been a good Samaritan, as it is said to be God's will. In the same town where the children and women live are two other children with their respective mothers, Cade, the son, and Elise. They live across the hall from the girl. She never knows what would have happened had it not been a good Samaritan, as it is said to be God's will. In the same town where the child and women live are two other children with their The relationship with her has soured somewhat of late, and somewhat over a series of incidents where they have been treated poorly or abused. They don't trust the new neighbor at all, and it is implied that both Katie and Lise may share an incestuous bond between each other. In fact, the parents had shared a secret love affair, and that is why the mother and daughter have to keep living apart for some odd reason. What? Oh well. Both Cade and Elsa resent the situation and have dropped the language at hand toward her compassion. Cade and Elsa resent the situation and have developed their hatred toward her to some level that can be felt through every aspect of their life. However, it comes up in a myriad of ways. The child herself isn't aware of her feelings and believes that they are merely teasing and making fun of her. But it's the beginning of the year for high school. A lot changes. New friendships develop, and some fall away by the wayside. However, others take its place. She gets more friends, even if some turn out to have questionable character or morals, which may cause the game to get worse for her, or it may make them seem even closer than before. She has a hard decision to make whether or not her bestie will remain true or leave because of her ongoing distrust towards him or her, and it becomes more complicated because she feels betrayed and angry. And on the subject of betrayals, there is a male teacher who has been teaching for some time and is on the new weird side. A creepy old pervert in the prime of his life, but the school administrations let things slip. In one instance where she was having trouble understanding a particular topic, he made it clear she didn't belong there. So he had no friends to talk with, so her mind was already elsewhere as she was in class, trying to memorize facts that seemed impossible for her to grasp. He asked the question about an upcoming event, which is when he says something out loud and turns his eyes directly to look at the female student next to him. Her body went tense and froze. When it happens in real life, a feeling will come over you that causes you to freeze, as well as your entire body is tingling, you're trembling. You try to act as normal as possible while your head spins. And then in the video game too, you see this happen in real life and in your video games. It gives an accurate depiction of reality. The feeling will continue until it stops or is broken by something. What makes the difference is the player chooses their action after that moment. Do they go for a walk to think about something different? Or do they just pretend that they didn't hear it? This is an emotionally abusive simulator because all actions you take are determined based on your choice of actions. You can choose what action you'll make when you feel someone looking down at you, or you see something on television that might offend or insult them. But that isn't enough to actually trigger an action. Instead, the player needs the presence of a third party who has power. And she looks up again and saw that she wasn't alone anymore. Her friend told her that the old pervert was staring right at her the whole class parade, and then they laughed. It caused a huge rush between her and her best friend because it was an inside secret they had. The rest of her class never knew. So now she has two friends who have no interest whatsoever in helping her, and now the same person she was told about by this friend has been giving the class more dirty states than before, and even asking her what she's going to do if the continues to grow but gives her such looks. And she can only shrug, which means yes, the way she feels, but she knows she won't ever act upon those feelings for anyone except itself. I'm getting tired and gravelly. There's something